flings to me like I'm a 2-year-old, okay? Because there's an element to this thing I just cannot get through my thick head.
Oh, there's a lot of things I can't get through my thick head. This is Dennis New York Giants Straight Talk. Pirate Bound like Big Blue LLC. Coming off the DL, or IR, I should say now, with the COVID. It's been a tough 4 days, 3 days, or whatever it is. But I'm slowly getting back. Want to get back on the swing before the Giants season kicks off. Of course, on Sunday, I will be there, hell or high water, with the venerable James Williams. Want to kind of give a couple final thoughts leading into my preview video, probably on Friday. Going to try to have an NFL video out with the Dahmer today or tomorrow, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But I want to just go over a couple things in the Giant land that's been sticking in my craw since I've been down and out. I want to talk about that's Adoree. Of course, Adoree Jackson is reunited with the New York Giants after that long stint on free agency, re-signing on a 1-year deal on Friday. I mean, if you look at it on paper, the 28-year-old cornerback at 5'11", who was with the Giants for the last 3 years now, is a good move because of the fact that when you have the likes of Cordell Flott and Nick McLeod, who really no one was the clear winner of training camp, and you have that as your number 2 on the outside, bringing in Jackson is a much needed sigh of relief because of the fact that you are bringing in a corner who has NFL experience. Will I say he had a great year the last couple of years? No, not really. He had moments. And we've always talked about moments. Moments are fleeting. But he had moments. What is really kind of bugging me a little bit is, and I talked about it a little bit, that Adoree Jackson was on the market forever. He was literally on the market forever. And you would figure that someone who was coming into their NFL prime, usually your NFL prime is anywhere between 27 to 30. That's when your body biologically peaks, they say. And that's not from me. That's from biologists and physicians and people such as that. You would think a guy who was doing that would literally have the ability to go out into the free agent market and find a spot on another team, but 32 teams, including the Giants, passed on him for multiple weeks. And I always thought he was waiting for that big injury in training camp. Because a lot of times in free agency, especially if you miss that first round of free agency and then you're not part of the second round of free agency and then you're kind of not part of the third, you're kind of just hanging out there. You kind of sit there and say, hey, listen, if an injury occurs, I can turn out and I can then have the ability to pick and choose where I want to go and get some money and get some cash and get that bling and get the Quan. But that never happened for Adoree. And I keep trying to think why. You take a look at Adoree, he had that performance against Justin Jefferson in the playoffs, which was great. He's allowed 54 catches for 753 yards and 2 touchdowns last season, which is not great. And I love it because he said, I didn't play my best. Well, no, you didn't play your best at all. You had moments. You had the big interception and the touchdown, I guess, in the Eagles game, but you didn't really play. He didn't really play that great last year. And it's kind of interesting that, like I said, that multitudes of teams, including the Giants, all 32 teams, passed on him forever. And I still look at the free agent market and players that are out there, and I take a look at the best corners available. You still have, what's his name, Howard and Peterson. I think J.C. Jackson's still out there. Eli Apple's still out there. Keenan Crosson's still out there. But these aren't big names anymore. These are guys that are going to move the win-loss needle on your season. And I'm just thinking that people are putting so much the Giant fans are putting so much on the Adoree Jackson plate that they may be disappointed if he flames out. Because listen, NFL franchises make mistakes all the time. But you have now 32 teams, including your own team, who made a mistake by passing on this guy for months. And he had to come in with a low rent contract with incentives just to come back onto an NFL roster. There's a reason and rationale for that. And I hope we don't find that out. Because, like, I still think we're going to win on Sunday. I think logic prevails that we are a better team than Minnesota. I don't know how much better we are than Minnesota, but I think at this point in time, we are on the same level. And I think Minnesota's at least a 4-win team. I think the Giants are anywhere between a 5 to 6-win team. But we are on the same level. And the overabundance of hype once we beat a bad Minnesota team is going to be just out of control on Sunday afternoon. I'm going to stay off Twitter and stay off the YouTube sphere because it's just going to be fucking nuts. Because you're gonna have those moments, that snapshot where you have these content creators who are predicting 10 wins, like, see, I told you, look at that, I told you. And then as the season progresses and things go south, you're gonna see them rant, and you're gonna see them change their opinions with the prevailing wins. And it's just funny to watch. It's just funny to watch the whole thing implode. One of the best or worst kept secrets is the fact that Brian Daboll's going to be play calling this season. And I laugh because who didn't know this? I mean, it comes out in the press at one point in time, like this is one of these things that he finally comes out and says that, you know what, I'm going to be calling plays. Yeah, we all knew this. Because the whole experiment with your offensive coordinator, who we shall not name, was a massive failure. And it's another black eye for this organization. It's even worse to basically understand that you are literally made another mistake. We misread the markets on so many things so poorly with this team. It's unbelievable. I thought the Gettleman regime really misread the market on a lot of things. And you would think that how much worse could this be? How much worse could the next regime be? Well, you know what? It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I go back to and no one knows what the hell I'm talking about. I go back to like the Andy Robustelli years, where the Giants were the Giants under Andy Robustelli, former Giant great. He was the GM from 74 to 78. He really just misread the market on everything. They had a total win record of 21-51 under that regime. Gettleman had a record of 19-46. If you take a look at the win percentage, it's still 2.92 for both. Robustelli had a 5-year tenure. Gettleman had a 4-year tenure. Excuse me, I can't talk still. But Andy Robustelli, before George Young came in 79, just didn't understand, or just did not have the ability or the wherewithal to evaluate talent or make trades or free agents that just made any sense. And Joe Shane, to me, is heading down that boat. He's heading down. To me, he's heading down that primrose path. Excuse me, because they make so many mistakes. The 3 years under Shane were 15, 18, and 1. And we have the third. We're started the third year right now. So in the last 2 years, we're 15, 18, and 1. You talk about the 7-2 start, but nobody wants to talk about the finish, the 5-2-1 finish. So that means halfway into 2022 and all the way into 2023, this team has only won 8 games. So in a year and a half, technically, we've only won 8 games. And you see Shane at times just whiffing on things. And then I love it because you had the whole Josh Jacobs story come out. And there was all this craziness, and there was all this thing that you had a guy from Atlanta cause a stir over the weekend suggesting that the Giants offered Josh Jacobs this massive deal. And it was rejected. And this guy wrote that Joe Shane offered Jacobs between $3 to $4 million more than he ultimately signed for the Green Bay. And basically this writer said that Jacobs rejected it because of the turf at MetLife, the overbearing media, and other issues. But then he had an issue. This was on Saturday, I believe. Then he had to issue a correction to his report basically revealing that the Giants never made any kind of offer or any kind of deal to Joe Schoen. Now, it's not saying the Giants didn't negotiate with him, but they didn't make any offer. Oh, my God. You had so many people were like, well, the Giants just omitted that from Hard Knocks. No, they didn't omit it from Hard Knocks. It never happened. The Giants have placed a value on the running back position, and that value is Devin Singletary. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That is their value for that position. And they had a fair market value deal for Singletary. But Singletary himself is not going to be the Saquon Barkley. He's not. I don't think he moves the needle on the win-loss record either, like Adoree doesn't. I don't think he moves that needle. And that's scary because you're hoping that your wide receiver, you are hoping your wide receiver, your rookie wide receiver, Malik Neighbors, turns the corner and becomes this player that Daniel Jones needs to actually survive in New York. I always talk about this. It cracks me up. Okay, let's see. Smooth sounds of Kenny G. Well, first Golden Tate. Well, no, first Evan Ingram, Saquon Barkley, Golden Tate, smooth sounds of Kenny G, Kadarius Toney, Wandale Robinson, Darren Waller. These are all the guys we have brought in so far to help Daniel Jones throughout his career because we don't ever go out and get him any weapons. I think that was 6 guys right there. So I just, I would have felt better if Shane did negotiate with Josh Jacobs. 26 years old, quality dynamic running back. I still think Saquon Barkley's better, but you know what? I think they're 1A, 1B in reference to Josh Jacobs. But it's just the craziness that we still just misread everything. We misread the marketplace. We misread our talent. We just I don't know. Then I love it because now there's talk about Josh Jacobs already losing his job. There's already talks about him potentially already being on the hot seat with, what's his name? Marshawn Lloyd. That they're talking about that he could unseat Jacobs already as a starter before the season's over. Oh, it's just another Pleasant Valley Sunday. Oh, I'm going to cut this video short because of the fact that my voice is killing me and I got to save it for the big streams coming up. So just remember this. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to ring that bell because you want to know why. That'll be awesome.